Here's one that's going to be an interesting one about links. Follow links versus no follow links. I know that this is thinking about Google, but if we were to put ourselves in the shoes of the user, where's the value in follow links versus no follow links?
I'm going to answer that question in a little bit of an unexpected way by
Great.
saying I don't know that you even need links.
Okay.
Links is something that was a very important differentiator for Google 23 years ago when other search engines existed. And Google used links to understand the relative authority of a piece of content versus another piece of content on another website. And they approached it from a scholarly standpoint, which is if you're Harvard then and you produce some paper on a cure for cancer and everyone referenced it, it's likely very authoritative. Google doesn't have to know that you're Harvard. They just have to know other people referenced it. If you're not Harvard and no one referenced it, Google doesn't have to know that you're not Harvard. They just have to know no one referenced it. So therefore, the content itself, even if it says the same thing as Harvard, is less important. So that's how they brought links in. Now it's 2022, almost 2023. We're so past that. Aside from the fact that there's all this AI Google can do, this idea of get a link means it's authoritative also taught everyone they could just buy it. So figure out how to give you a good link, and follow versus no follow. Follow versus no follow, I think, came out in like 2008. So that's an innovation that came out 14 years ago. Google's well beyond that too. The way Google looks at the web is they look at all sorts of signals. Engagement may be one of them, but they look at all sorts of signals to look at quality. You know, there's all this, not controversy, but just all the news around AI content. Google can also do reverse AI content. They can look at the quality of the content and say, oh, is this high level? Is this answering the query of the user? For years, Google has had within advanced search results where you could say, I want grade level of the content. I want this to be good for a primary school student. I want this to be good for like an academic researcher. So they already recognize that level of content. So that's always been in the algorithm. And I'm sure now it's far advanced. To answer your question, I don't really think you necessarily need links now. Links are important, but not as important as the quality of the content, the quality of the product. So when it comes to link building, I always recommend that people work with PR agencies. And there's some great PR agencies that I love, and anybody reaches out, I'm happy to point you in the right direction, where they're great at getting visibility towards the product and towards the website and towards the products that the website has from a link perspective. But if the links don't count, those links are from a search standpoint, those links are still things that people are going to click on and become aware of. One of the things that people got to when it comes to like link building is they create all these worthless websites that no one reads, but somehow have perceived high domain authority. That doesn't help anybody because Google knows no one reads it. They can see that, right? They can look at the level of content. So despite the fact that you think it's a valuable link, Google likely doesn't count it in the algorithm. Now, if you get a link on, say, a Forbes, which no one will know like how Google values that link because Forbes has been known to possibly have less stringent requirements on getting a link, it doesn't matter. It's still Forbes, and you still get to put on your website as recommended by Forbes, or you still get to share that on your social media and say, hey, look at what Forbes said about us. So there's value in getting that link, even if Google doesn't value it. So that's my approach towards link building, which is get publicity, get people to talk about your website and link to your website. You don't know which of those links matter. So don't focus on metrics like domain authority and things like that. Focus on the link and the visibility and the awareness.
Awesome. So the awareness.
Actually, I can't answer the follow versus no follow. Go after the no follow links. Wikipedia is still no followed. So get a no follow link from Wikipedia is far better from a traffic standpoint than a followed link from like some website created just for links.
Yeah. Like a PBN site or something silly.
Yeah, exactly.
The way I think about it, as you've explained this, is don't look at a link metric, look at the authority or perceived authority that a user would have about who Forbes is or who Harvard is, and their overall brand and the feeling that they create in the world that somebody looks at like, oh, that's Harvard, oh, that's Forbes, rather than like the metrics of what it has, because the user, I guess, is going to feel a bit better or feel like they've got more that piece of content that's linking to has more authority because of the feeling they have, not the metric that they can see. Oh, Forbes must have a high DR. This must be valuable. They're not thinking about that, right? So they're probably going, oh, wow, this is like Stanford, or Harvard said, this is, worth reading. They're going to read it not because of that, because it's Stanford or Harvard, not like, oh, yeah, Stanford's got a DR of like this or Harvard's got a DR of that, right?
Yeah, and just to like put some an example behind this, I spent a lot of my SEO career at SurveyMonkey. On 3 occasions, we got links from whitehouse.gov. They didn't do anything for us. Actually, the first time it kind of did, but then it went away as Google advanced. So in 2008, we got a link. I think it mattered, but I don't really know for sure. But in 2012, we got a link. And in 2016, we got a link. It didn't do anything for us at all. And the reason I think that these links didn't do anything is because Google looked at the White House, which had like, I don't know, a DR of 99. It's the White House. And said, the White House is not an authority on survey content. This is not this is not an authority on anything. No one's like, I'm going to wake up in the morning and see what sort of press release the White House put out. Let's see what Donald Trump had to. No one even went there to see what Donald Trump had to say. You went to Twitter, right? So, which has no TR at all.
Yeah.
So that's the way Google looked at these things. So Google, again, they may say, oh, wow, that's a DR99. Doesn't matter. No authority. Or they may look at something and say that's a DR6. But wow, is that authoritative in the space? That link matters. We don't know. So since we don't know, let's go with what we do know, which is what's the brand? What's the visibility of this? How many people are likely going to be reading this and clicking and going over? Like one of the things that like websites have done as they try to monetize links is they create so much content it's impossible for anyone to read. Insider.com became one of those sites. I don't know how much valuable a link from insider.com is for anything whatsoever if no one's going to read it and Google's going to ignore it. So focus on visibility.